I guess I'll share a funny one first. This was my first week in the mission, and so Spanish was still a little rough for me. And in, I think Mexico in general, but in my mission there were always people that were selling things in the streets. And instead of going door to door, they would just yell whatever they were selling. And so I was studying in personal study one morning, and I just heard this man yell, bigote, and in Spanish that means mustache. And so I just got so confused because I knew what bigote meant, and I just kind of looked, a little confused. I was like, okay, yeah, crazy guy, I guess. But the next morning he came back and he just yelled bigote outside of our door. And so after a few days, I finally asked my trainer and I said, why is that man yelling mustache every single day? And she just laughed, and she just laughed for a long time. She said, no, hermana, no, sister. He's saying elote, which is like those corn, going the cob on a stick. And so that's what he was selling. But I thought he was saying mustache every single day. But the ironic part is later that day we were walking around and there was a man really selling fake mustaches. And so I said, hey, see, it was him the whole time. And it was just really funny. So there will be times like that when you just don't understand the language, but it turns out to be a funny experience. Let's see, what else? A scary experience, I guess, that I had was in Tijuana. There's lots of stray dogs. And I was tracting with one of my companions, and we had received a referral for this address, and so we went to the house, but no one was there. And it was in a dead end, just a circle in the street. So as we were coming out, my companion was just a few feet in front of me, and she walked by this car, and all of a sudden, these two giant dogs started chasing her. And I was training her, so she just said, protect me, and she ran behind me. And so I felt that I, had to face these dogs, and they were chasing us, but I was walking backwards, so I could, see where they were going. And, in my mind, I just prayed, Heavenly Father, please help me. These dogs are about to attack. And it kind of turned into it did turn into a very spiritual experience because when they attacked and they started going for my ankles to try to bite me, but every time they would come up to bite my ankle, something would just close their mouth and push them backwards. And I saw this happen right in front of me, that they physically couldn't bite me, and that gave me enough time to run away. And of course I was a little shaken afterwards, but it was a very cool experience to see that. I believe that angels are protecting all of the missionaries, and that, even if it's just a scary dog that I didn't want to chase us or to bite me, Heavenly Father was always willing to protect us. So I think just one more. This was probably the most spiritual experience of my mission for me. And so the first couple baptisms that I was able to see in my mission, it was a young couple, and they had two little girls, and they had a really rough life coming up until their baptism. And so they were in my very first area, and they got baptized, and they said, okay, Sister Hewish, we'll see you back in a year when we get sealed in the temple. And so I was able to go to the open house. I was able to work in the temple during that open house, and I was just so excited to get to see them there. And as I went to different areas, and I somewhat kept in contact with that family, they had so many challenges that year. They lost their jobs. They, had a fight and separated for a little while, and just so many things that Satan was trying to throw at them so that they wouldn't get sealed. And there was a time when, about 3 months before they planned to get sealed, when that sister wrote me and she said, I don't think it's going to happen. Sorry to say, it's been rough and we're still going to church, we're still striving, but it's so hard. And I just bore my testimony to her through an email because it was all I could do, and that they should just keep going and that it would be okay. And then she emailed me again and said that the date was set, that they were going to be sealed. And it was towards the end of my mission at that point, but I was able to go into the newly dedicated temple there and see those first 2 baptisms sealed together. And that experience alone was worth the 18 months of work. And it was amazing to get to see that it's not about the baptisms. Really, missionary work is about helping other people find that same happiness that we have in the church. It's about helping them to have an eternal family, because that's what the plan of salvation is about. And so just being able to see them again at the end of my mission, they knew me as the sister that was really nice, but that didn't speak much Spanish, to the sister that was just there with them at their sealing. And that was a very spiritual experience for me. And it's hard to explain exactly how I felt, but the joy of just seeing them there, getting sealed together with their children, was worth everything. So I guess just to wrap that one up, I remember contacting this lady, and we would share something that we taught as missionaries with the people that we contacted. So I just said, we as members of this church, we know that families can be together forever. And she just stopped and she said, "Really?" And that hit me, because I had grown up knowing that, and I had grown up believing that and having such an amazing family. But that lady just said, "Yes, please teach me," because most people don't know that. So that's what it's all about, is just seeing those families come together and giving a little bit of your time so that other people can have their families forever.